I'm Jason. I'm presenting on the topic of the Vietnamese culture and more from the years 1954 to 1975. In brief, the Vietnamese culture did not stand by the side of the war, but rather arranged individual publicity and family privately, and eventually formed the memories in the diaspora. Here's some context. After the Geneva Wars in 1954, Vietnam became partitioned and the war continued for an extremely long time. My thesis is straightforward. The workings of Vietnamese culture practices lie on three levels. First of all, they all organized on the level of the mass mobilization. Second, they are organized on the level of the individual or semi-individual survival. And third, the workings of the Vietnamese culture practices become the cornerstone of the support memory after 1975. I am using works by historians George Herring and Stanley Carnoff, anthropologist Hyun Ki-won, Leon Hang Win on the strategy of Hanoi, Marilyn Young on the memory politics, and members Lee Lay Hayslip. Public culture. I would like to immerse myself in the culture of the people. In the North, culture was seen as a two-sided weapon, a means of promoting messages and unifying element that held communities together. You will see posters everywhere, youth parades, parading, festivals, arranged with a strict script in the ways the events of the masses are organized, choreographed so perfectly. The visual effects is immediate. A heroic leader, a mother sending her son to the front, young marches, covered in red banners, all marching together. The South, on the other hand, was more competitive with voices competing to be heard, but just as in the North, civic pageantry, radio shows, and print media are still used to influence citizenship and raise morale. It was slightly more focused on a cacophony of messages, although the same goal was pursued in both regions. The culture had gone to a practical side. It not only seemed to be emotional as it systematized the everyday life and feelings of people, but it harmonized the calendars and made the sacrifice needful and common. These observational rituals, such as neighborhood reconstructions and supply runs, coin the wind hearing, remain functional despite the shaking of the area when bombardments were taking place. Here's some propaganda, just trying to get some people from the north to move to the south. And it's basically saying how the southern people have open arms to welcome the northern compatriots. Through it all, second sacred layer, semi-public, such as how families unspoil their morals in their hearts and all noise. The popular songs written by Shrinkan Sun, this person right here, took the form of an unofficial therapy as they provided the people with a cry well into their sorrows and the slightest love that they could not be found in the mainstream slogans of that time. Even ordinary clothes such as the Aoi continued to make people dignified. They were silent cheerleaders of the continuity during all the turmoil. House altars, they ensured that the ancestors were immediately presented in the in our living rooms, and they anchored the entire family space. Nick Kiwan and their apologist talks of the wandering souls and demonstrates how rituals tending the dead, telling the right stories, reestablish moral order with bodies lost and deaths identified as difficult to determine. Those traditional ways provided answers to the types of questions to which no policy can respond. What do we owe the people we have lost? What do we do to them when they are no more? the way of life. On the left is how someone dressed. That is the dress of Aoyoi. And the right is altars that Vietnamese people do to try to contact the afterlife. To 1975, what I've learned is the following: that the dysphoria after 1975, following the overthrow of Saigon, the Vietnamese dysphoria started reconstructing their identities in the form of community centers, churches, temples, and the music scenes of rewriting wartime songs. The local monuments and annual memorial days assisted in balancing the greeting with the appreciation of the host countries. Historian Marion Young claims the Vietnamese wars persisted in memory politics, and I believe she has a point. The languages shaped during the period of bombardment became the language of memory in the new homelands, everywhere from Orange County to Paris to Sydney. I would like to take away that culture was not merely a decoration to war, but it served as a means of responsibility, passion, and life. We were mobilized by means of public rituals. We were cured through the rituals of a private character. We could retain memories through rituals of a dysphoria. Thanks for listening.